Hi, I'm Nantanaa Mutarasu from St. Clair College Mediaplex, and this is Comic Book Syndicate review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Becca, what did you think?
It was really good, actually. I was really nervous going into it because the sequel's never as good. I mean, rarely as good.
Yes, and this one I was worried that maybe it would, because usually with comedies they try a little bit too hard or they repeat jokes. They definitely didn't repeat jokes. They didn't try too hard. There was a small part in the middle where it felt like it was slowing down a little bit, but other than that, I thought it was just as good as the original.
James Gunn doesn't give a shit about the rest of the Marvel films.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't, and that's the key.
Yes. The key to the success of the first one was that James Gunn did whatever he wanted, right? And now, because that movie was successful, now the other Marvel movies are kind of imitating it. Like, we slip a little 70s music into Doctor Strange. We slip a little 80s font into Thor Ragnarok. James Gunn did it first. And when I say did it first, I mean, again, did whatever he wanted. It worked. Now it worked again. You are not a comic book fan, right?
No, I'm
so
not.
You've never read the Guardians of the Galaxy comic books, but you did see the first movie.
I did.
Right? And you liked it?
Oh yeah, it was really funny.
Okay, so you like that one. Now, overall, what is it you think that makes these movies good? Why do you enjoy them, you think?
Well, first of all, mostly it's the comedy in the movies, because Guardians of the Galaxy, it stood out somehow because it was not like the other Marvel movies that I saw.
Okay.
So it was very different, and all the characters, in the first movie, all the characters had their own individual characters, which was really different, and they were all funny. So that caught my attention for the first one.
Yeah, actually, it kind of surprised me with how genuinely innovative it was for a sequel of a movie that was already kind of innovated in a sense. I was really scared of Baby Groot.
Sure.
I was going on, I was like, is this going to get to Minion territory of cringe?
Okay.
And didn't. Super thankful for that. Was cute the whole time. Stayed cute, not annoying and stupid and unnecessary to the plot. I didn't really know where they were going because everything that you read was like, oh, he's playing Ego. And it's like, okay, well, how are they going to incorporate this from a comic standpoint? And they have to change a couple things up. And for the better, I think, for a movie. Everything that they changed, I think, is going to just be a bonus and a benefit to them in the cinematic universe as a whole outside of the comics. Like the things that they're changing about Star-Lord as a character versus the things that they changed about Ego and a couple of those things. Perfect.
You know, there's people that think that superhero movies have to feature a household name like Superman or Batman or the Hulk in order to be successful. Does this movie prove, like, when you saw the previews for this, you'd never heard of the characters, right?
No.
So when you went into it, the first one, did you expect it to be good or?
No, it was just another, because any Marvel movie were supposedly good. So I was like, okay, so it should be a good movie. So I went in, I didn't know any of the characters, and then I watched it, and it was actually funny. So, and that was the only thing that kept the whole movie going for me.
So would you now give, I mean, pretty much any superhero or Marvel movie you would give a chance, assuming it's good. It doesn't really matter if you know who the characters are, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't really have to read the comic book.
Let's talk about Karen Gillan. She was so good as Amy Pond, but there's something about her that doesn't work as Nebula. And I think it's that she might be the only actress in the movie that's not in on the joke. It's almost like she's always trying so hard to be serious and to be tough.
Well, she's like she's like a robot. She's practically a robot at this point. So she doesn't have feeling. Or if she does have feeling, it's barely there. And from what I saw, her only motivation is her sister, Gamora. It's the only part of the film that doesn't completely fit. Like the theme of family, it fits. So I think that's where they can kind of get away with having her still in this film. But other than that, it doesn't help Gamora's character, and it certainly doesn't help Nebula's.
I don't know, it's really fun and smooth in a way that not a lot of movies are, especially when you're such a comedy, but also like really hyper emotional, super emotional movie. Like not just like sad or happy, but like like roller coaster of waves of emotions that you felt, like togetherness and loneliness and separation and anxiety and sadness and grief and all this stuff. It was actually kind of interesting to go into a comedy and come out bawling like I did, but
And it's more genuine because the characters feel more real, right? And so you feel everything more when they go through it, right?
I love the Guardians of the Galaxy characters and the way that the actors portray them. It's so ingenious, especially the new characters they incorporated. I think they meshed really well with the Guardians that already have such big characters, right?
Right.
So like with Mantis and Nebula coming in to the Guardians, it kind of really meshed and flowed really nice, and they added something, which I was afraid that they were just going to throw in more characters to have an Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it actually, things mattered.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just do stuff to do stuff. It was good. And I love Mantis. I love her so much.
Yeah, I love Mantis too.
I love her so
Steve
much.
Englehart, this one's for you. Chris Pratt is priceless as Star-Lord. His delivery is perfect. Dave Bautista was just perfect. No one else could play that role. He's not trying to be funny. He is funny.
Do you know who I felt was like very strained for me in this one? Was Rocket Raccoon, because everyone was yelling so he was actually straining to be heard over top of everybody, and it was like it almost was too much. Like I was afraid, like Becca was afraid about Groot, but Groot was handled pretty well. I think Rocket Raccoon kind of fell flat for me this time.
I felt like he wasn't as funny. It's like they were trying to give him this serious arc, and I'm not sure if it quite worked, but maybe it'll go somewhere. But yeah, I love science fiction. But the science fiction of the past 25, 30 years has been so gloomy and monochrome. I love how James Gunn is bringing back the bright colors, right?
You can see the Kirby crackles in the sky in this movie. That's what I loved about it.
Exactly. Make it look like that's actual comic book, so, like origins, right? Because otherwise it's just going to look like everything else, right? Make it look unique.
Yeah, everything, like even the characters, the makeup is bright and vibrant, or ugly and gross and weird and different, and you can tell what a character is going to do based on just kind of how they look and how they feel. Like Taserface, he's going to be a stupid bad guy, and even his makeup was good. And then the visual effects were actually stunning.
Yes.
Like the space scenes and all the spaceships and the planet that they're on, the Eagle's planet, is
gorgeous. That was like
gorgeous.
a acid, like psychedelic dream world. It was beautiful.
And then when you're in like the grimy ship and it's all grimy and gross and dark, it still works. Like you can still have that gritty, dark realism, but still be fun and bright and have color.
It's like the movie is a choreographed dance around the 70s and 80s.
Exactly. And the references were beautiful. Like the way that the film would build up a serious moment and then underscore it with like a pop culture reference or joke. And it never felt forced. It always felt funny. And the thing is in most comic book movies, starting with, say, maybe X-Men, it's like, well, the X-Men have yellow and blue costumes, so let's make their costumes black. Well, Daredevil has a red costume, so let's make his costume black. And even Aquaman, we know, has an orange shirt and green pants in the movie. What are his colors?
Hunkiness.
Okay, but in this movie, if the character's blue, they're like primary blue. If they're yellow, they're primary yellow. And that's what I love about it, right? They're not afraid to look like comic book characters. Now, here's my final question. This is very important. Does this movie make you want to read a Guardians of the Galaxy comic book?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know a lot of the other small details. So a lot of when I hear a lot of people talking, I'm like, I wish I knew what they were talking about. So then I would want to pick up a comic book and.
What if they sold comic books in movie theaters so that when you walked out of the theater there was comic books right there? Would you buy one?
I would probably.
There you go.
Because it's in the moment, right? So
exactly.
You buy it.
Impulse buys, Marvel and DC.
Marketing, good marketing.
There you go. How many times are you going to see this movie?
I'm going to go see it tomorrow, too.
Okay. I'm going to see it at least one more time in the theater.
With less eye makeup, though.
Okay.
It
was tough.
There were so many feels.
And I also want to point out we saw this in 2D because we refuse to see 3D.
Some of us have 20/20, so that's fine.
You recommend this film then?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Excellent. Are you going to see it again?
Probably, yeah. And I'm also waiting for the next one if it's coming.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a few years away, but there'll be a third one. Once again, thank you, James Gunn, for bringing back like the fun space opera science fiction that was done in Star Wars and done in Firefly, and it's so rare to find that nowadays. So we appreciate it. We love it. Thank you, James Gunn. Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, highly recommended by Michael and... I was waiting for you to say your name.
I thought you were just going to say it.
No.
You forgot my name?
Yeah, I didn't remember.
You forgot it again.